I'm very sorry. I literally feel like I'm falling asleep whilst recording. But we moved. The grind don't stop. So I got this America idea when I was about 14. I thought football in America would be easy. So I thought the best way for me to go pro would be to come to college out here and then get drafted. But after some time out here, I quickly realized how difficult that was. But that was my original intention of coming. So at the age of 14, I was researching companies and scholarships to get to America. I remember emailing one company / agency, talk about how I want to come and play football, and they literally got back to me saying, come back when you're 16. So the second I got the idea for it, I basically just started scheming. Now, one important detail that should not be overlooked is that from 14 up until basically now, I never stopped playing football. And that's a lot more important than people think. You can take some time off. Yes, you can take a couple years off, but it's hard to come back in the loop. I can say the reason how I got to America and survived in America for as long as I did is just because I just never stopped playing. So around the time I got this idea, I was playing for my local team called Young Hackney. And if you've seen any of my football videos, then you're going to know about Young Hackney. To be fair, I think we started playing for Young Hackney around 14, 15. But then we got a new coach at around 15, 16. I think around 16 years old, we got a new coach in it. And his name was Everton. Lo and behold, Everton actually used to coach and play in America. So I remember very clearly, me and my boy Wayo asked him, do you think we have what it takes to play in America? Because we were interested. And he said yes. So he helped us a lot in getting that ball rolling. So from about 15 to literally up until going, Everton would ask us or tell us to do different tasks, such as doing the SAT, such as going to these events. And now that I think about it, I don't know if the events in themselves were that useful for our process, but what they were useful for was getting a little bit of understanding of what we had to do. And I think Everton, now I look back and I think Everton done it as a bit of a filter, but that's another topic for another day. So having Everton is a big help because, of course, the school that I went to first, I went there through Everton. And if he wasn't there, the opportunity to even discover such a school basically would have been very close to nil, isn't it? So if you can somehow come across a coach, or if you're lucky enough that you come across someone that played over there or coached over there or knows coaches over there, that can help you big time. And that's kind of part of the reason why I got this channel, because that experience and that knowledge can really, the way it can set you up is night and day. It's honestly so crazy. So at 18, me and my boy Louis hopped on that plane and we attended Broward College in Florida. One of my boys, Wael, was actually meant to join us, but he couldn't due to some technicality in one of his GCSE grades. He got a certain grade, the school wanted it to be higher. He tried to appeal it, it didn't work. So the lesson, and he was very unlucky, but the lesson in that is, do take your GCSE seriously. Make sure you cover your bases. Make sure you do what you need to do, because you never know what may come back and bite you in it, God forbid. But it's something you should keep an eye out on. Anyway, my first year in America went past. I came back to UK the next year, that summer, and worked like a dog to the point that I literally almost collapsed in the middle of walking home. Yes, I was on a scholarship, but I was still working hard because there were other things I had to pay for, such as deposit for the new houses or flights over there. Yes, your school can cover a lot of things, but there's some stuff they won't cover, and I was working to cover those costs. I worked so much and basically still was not able to cover those costs. So then I called my coach at the time, and I remember he saying something on the phone along the lines of, but you've already got a full scholarship, what more do you want? Hung up the phone. Then he literally called me back 2 minutes later and was like, actually, Kobe, take the year off at home, work, make some money, and then come back next year. So that's what I did. In between my first and second year in America, I took a gap year back in England where I worked and just played a lot of football and coached a lot of football. And the aim was simple. Work was to make money, and then I was playing coaching football to make sure I'm still in physical, mental shape to go back to America. After my gap year, I went back to Broward, done my second year there. Now, Briarwood was a community college, was a junior college, which basically means you're there for 2 years to build up your grades or your playing reputation and then move on to a new school. I basically got a spreadsheet from a guy called, well, the YouTuber is called Spencer Muller, but some guy called Kev Yarn, so shout out him. He gave me access to these spreadsheets, or let me aware of these spreadsheets. And I mainly wanted to go to D1 or D2. So I literally sent out an email, and to some schools, numerous emails. I sent out an email to every single D1 and D2 school saying basically, I want to come here. Here's my video. This is how much I can pay a year, and so on. Now, it's worth me saying, even though I did solid in junior college, I wasn't a world beater. I didn't get anything. I didn't set the scene on fire. So it's not like I had hella people coming for me. And then on top of that, the amount of money I can afford per year wasn't a lot. So obviously, it's not going to make sense for schools to put big money into a guy that they're not going to get a necessarily big return from in the coach's eyes. So I'll be honest, I didn't have that many offers. I had a couple. If I had more money, I probably would have had more offers. But I had a couple offers. They were all D2 schools. I remember there was a school in Buffalo, a school in Michigan, and I was going to go to a school in Orlando. But one of my friends, Mikel, everyone's slightly pronounces it different. It's because he's Polish. He then had a guy that helps other people get into schools. So he put me into contact with this guy. He said, Kobe, you're a serious guy. I like you. This, that. You can play at the next level. So speak to this guy. So I texted and emailed the guy, and we were in contact, and I told him the level I want to play at and how much I can afford. And he got back to me with a couple D2 schools, but also said, would I consider the NAIA, which is a certain division? It's like D1, D2, D3/NAIA, but I ain't really going into that. So he's like, would you consider going to an NAIA school? And at the time, I didn't have a great rep. I didn't think NAIA schools were that great. Now that I've lived it, I can say there are some very, very top NAIA schools that literally compete with D1 schools. But I didn't have that knowledge at the time. Anyway, Michel's agent friend, or whatever he is, said, would you consider any NAIA schools? I was like, not really, but beggars can't be choosers. I wanted to continue my time in America. So the guy put me into contact with Coach Pond and Coach Sterrett, which were the two coaches at Southwestern College. Spoke to them, had a really good energy and vibe about the school. They then gave the phone to who's now someone who's my good friend, Rem, who was a student there at the time. And I spoke to Ram about what the school's like, and he said, yeah, come make your name, you enjoy it, cool. I still really wanted to go to this D2 school in Orlando at the time. This school in Orlando, I'm not going to really go too heavy on credits and classes. Long story short, in order for me to attend the school in Orlando, I would have had to complete a certain amount of classes. And I thought my community college was going to let me take those classes in the summer, but they didn't. So that school in Orlando was basically telling me to take off another semester. I didn't want to take off another semester and complete those classes because I had already taken a gap year and felt like I was wasting time. Whereas Southwestern, the school in Kansas, they basically said, you can just come with whatever classes you've done. And so I said, yep, you know what, I'm going to take it. It's NAIA, it's in Kansas, cool. But they want me. The coaches really sound like they want me. The school's just going to accept me for what I can do. They had a really good payment plan for how I could pay back the school and how I can work and so on. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to move to Winfield, Kansas. And then I've spent the last 2 years in Kansas. In terms of navigating your time in America, creating opportunities for yourself, just like anything in life, you really have to put in that work, isn't it? You have to do a lot of research, get some people that are on a similar wavelength to you that are trying to accomplish big things. Speak and communicate with your coaches or people that are in the college game, because just that bouncing of ideas can really help you. I mean, if I didn't have people like Michelle or my friend John, I wouldn't have been able to maybe attend Southwestern College. Also, be diligent and be persistent. I did not have to apply to every D1 and D2 school, but something inside told me, if I can stay faithful to the process of applying to D1 and D2 schools who knows what can happen for me. Yeah, navigating America and it is easy but tough. It's easy in the sense that it's easy for me to tell you what to do. Get out there, meet good people, stay on the right side of people, isn't it? That's easier said than done. But the good thing about America, from what I've seen in this college football, college sports world, is you can create your own opportunities. And the only way you can do that is through constantly trying to be the best version of yourself on and off the pitch. Working hard, working diligently, and making sure you're putting up the results on the pitch and in the classroom. And that can be applied to any sport and any industry. So yeah, man, that was how I navigated America. I hope that provided you guys with some sort of context of how I done it out here, how I went about learning things out here. I hope this just inspires whoever watches it to just go do what they want to do, isn't it? And I want them to understand that you can create your own opportunities, but it ain't gonna be easy. So yeah, man, I feel like I'm waffling right now. I'm very, very, very tired and I'm about to go sleep. So peace, love, bird game, Coker out, putting Hackney on the map, baby.